What have you found to be the key drivers necessary to scale e-commerce business operations?
We built Moo as a business that sat on HP's Indigo printing platform. Very, very high quality print technology. So we knew always that from a printing perspective, we could just buy more machines, we could scale up the physical operation to a massive degree, and there were examples of people in the market that were already doing that. And Moo has always done quite simple products, squares, rectangles, it's all very straightforward. We've never done a book, and because one of the problems with books is they're quite complicated, they're quite difficult to put together. I mean, books generate far more revenue, but it's much harder if you're a vertically integrated business to scale up book production. Now, there's a lot of complicated design and there's a lot of complicated software and other things, but at an operations level, it's pretty straightforward. It's a square, a rectangle, whatever. When we've had to innovate and create new things that help those workflows work more effectively. Brian, our VP of Ops, he invented a number of very cool things in our warehouse, like when we were doing mini cards for the first time. Because Moo is the only company in the world where you can get 100 different images on your cards, you need to make sure that you keep those orders together. You can't let them fall over and mix the cards in with other ones. So you needed a piece of hardware or something in the warehouse to keep orders separate before you've packaged them. And Brian brought seedling trays in from the local garden store, right? So seedling trays where you'd plant seeds in and you pour water and put dirt or whatever in it to help these plants grow. He just brought these trays in and he would stack the cards in them like that. They were little rectangular shapes, and it would keep all the cards together. And we've now had these custom-built trays. We had them made so that in the warehouse, when they travel from place to place, they all keep beautifully nice and clean and all together. So, we've made big decisions and said no to certain products that are harder to scale operationally. And then we've tried to invent new things that help the workflows, work more easily. And then the final thing is we have very talented product designers. We have a great designer called Paul Thorogood, who does does all of our product design, but has really focused on packaging design and stuff. And there's always a conversation that takes place, because Paul is a genius. He's one of these kind of modern day Leonardo da Vinci's, right? He's making, out of paper, he's making amazing things all the time. And the conversations that happen between Brian and him when he's having this conversation that says, we're going to make this packaging, it's going to be this, and it's going to fold like this, and it's going to look like a butterfly, and it's going to have a rocket and a laser on it. And we all go, wow, that's amazing, Paul. And then you see Brian at the table saying, they're never going to be able to do that in the warehouse. They're never going to be able to pack anything in it. But I think by having both those people at the table, by making something that's going to look beautiful, that customers are going to love, but also that we can manufacture at scale for 1 million customers, not just 100 customers. It's that combination of the common sense but with the remit to be remarkable, to make something that's going to be really beautiful and customers are going to love. It's going to be a conversation between the practicalities of the reality and the wanting to blow people's minds stuff.